Dano Vision. That's why we stay late, because we run into special cars. That was a Foose car that Marcel and his son Luc last did, and Marcel's going to narrate as we walk around some of the things that he did. Go ahead, Luc.
Yeah, this started out as a Speed 33, and Chip came up with the design and helped with all the fixtures. And this has obviously the top is all made, the A-pillars, the cowl, the hood, the front fenders are brand new. They're handmade. It's actually been stretched, the car, about I think 2 or 4 inches, I forget. And then the rear fenders are handmade, and then the back pan is also. So the only thing really left is the 2 doors, and most of the quarter panels are still Speed 33.
Stop. Yeah. Wow. It's beautiful. And this was the last project that your dad did.
This is the last project that we did in our shop, me and Dad. And after this car went out, then I had moved the shop to my new facility now.
So the open house we had the other day, you're not doing any work there anymore?
No, where the open house was, that is my new shop.
Oh, okay.
This car was done maybe 8 years ago, I guess.
Okay. All right, yeah. And so 9 of the 12 cars displayed here by Chip Goose
they were done at MarCels or partially done. There were 3 of them that were 100% completely handmade impressions, and the calls it F. He calls it 0032, I think, the black one, the Peterson, and then the Magnuson car that was handmade. That was one of Jerry Kugel's murals that we did. And then the other ones we had our hand in, like this one here. It's not a scratch built from nothing. We started with the Speed 33. The Grandmaster, that was, I did a lot of that with Doug Peterson and Chip in North Dakota. The Cool Air over here, I didn't do a lot on that, but I did get to help with some stuff. The Eldorado, we helped out with that car. The only 3 that we didn't have our hands on was the Hemisphere and Chip's 32 right there.
Right.
And then his truck.
His truck, yeah.
Other than that, we had at least our hands on it, even if we didn't do a lot of it.
Okay. Now, am I mistaken? Was the Grandmaster at the shop on Thursday?
Yes, it was.
Yes, okay. All right.
Yeah, Doug, the one that was parked next to it during the show was, they call it Madam X. It's a 39 Cadillac. Mm-hmm. That was also done in my new shop. That was the first project that I had in my new shop, and this car here is the last project in our old shop.
Okay.
That 39 Cadillac started out as a 4-door, and then Chip designed it into a 2-door with a removable aluminum top. So we pretty much made the whole car brand new from behind the hood to in front of the deck lid. It was all brand new from the floor up.
Wow. And typically, like a project similar to that, time-wise, how much time, how many days or months?
I did that car years back. It's hard to say how much time it was. And then Doug came down from North Dakota, and he helped me with it. He'd be here for 2 weeks while we worked on it. Then he'd go home and see his wife for a few weeks, and he'd come back for 2 weeks. So it was the 2 of us, and then Dad wasn't going to work with us, but he started coming around and helping back in that time period. With the 3 of us on it, I don't remember how long it took us. I'm going to guess 5-6 months.
Well, geez, that's pretty quick for all that work that you guys do. But I guess it's old hat. You guys do it all the time, so it's.
We're pretty proficient at what we do, and these cars don't take as long as some people might think they should take.
The other day at your shop on that Bugatti that you're working on, Pete Hawk was showing me the one side that's finished and rolled over, and the other side is still being worked on.
Right.
And I'm glad that he pointed it out to me, and I'm glad that you left it that way for the open house so people could see just what kind of work that you do. And it's you know, this is what happens. You have to roll it, and you have to work it, and you have to weld it. And,
Yeah, first you build it, and then you got to fix it. You
yeah.
know.
Now on a Bugatti that's in the shop, the wood frame that does that stay in, or is that just?
Yes, that stays in that car, and I don't do the woodwork. There was a wood expert that did all the wood.
Last year, I think it was. I'm not sure. It was the car that Rick Dorr had in there this year. Was that the car that you were working on last year?
Last year, the one he had in Building 4, the red one.
Yeah.
Kind of it's like a Tim's special remake, but a '90s version of it.
Right.
That was in my shop last year. I finished that probably around June this year. I'm surprised he got it here that fast.
Yeah.
And then the copper colored car that he had in the other building.
Right.
That was the car I did for him the year prior.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And was it Ron Cambra's paint shop painted?
Yeah. He painted the red one, the Tim's special, or I think he calls it a speedster. I think is what he calls it. It's like a mid-engine car.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, they got a lot of oohs and ahs. Rick and I was actually sitting on the bench looking at the car, and I got my two Sonys on me, and I sat there, took a couple shots in high definition, and I fooled around with Lightroom on my phone, and I showed her to him. He goes, "Wow." He emailed that to me. And I said, "Well, I changed the color of it slightly." He says, "I don't know. That's pretty damn bitchy." So I was a little jazzed at he enjoyed that picture.
He did a great job finishing that car. It's absolutely stunning.
Yeah. That's a nice stroke sound. Now, like when you're doing these cars with bodies, the chassis is all done, so you don't do anything with the chassis?
No, I'm strictly a sheet metal guy.
Okay.
I don't do anything chassis-wise, suspension, paint, engine. It's strictly sheet metal.
Okay. And so they would bring you the chassis, and then from there you do your changes and right on the chassis, but without the motor.
Most of these, it's not the changes. It's just they bring me a sketch and I build the whole thing, like impression. And like the original Boyster that is now, the black one that Chip had here.
Right.
And all the Rick's cars, he brings me a chassis. It's got an engine and a tranny in it, and then he just brings me a 3/4 front view and a 3/4 rear view, and we just start at it from that.
That is sweet. Yeah, when I saw that here the other day, I thought, geez, I thought I just saw that in Luc's shop, and I thought, well, maybe I got it backwards.
You did. Yeah. They picked it up Thursday evening and brought it here.
Okay. Wow. It's going to be a process getting these cars out tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. I guess I was hearing him say earlier in another interview that he had space inside for 10, but he had 12, and so he tightened them up and made sure that he could get all 12 in here. So that was pretty cool. I couldn't imagine having 10 and 2 somewhere else. What 2 do you choose to leave outside or wherever? Yeah. So now, cool. Luc, thanks very much for narrating as we're looking at these masterpieces that you and your dad had constructed over time, and look forward to seeing you more in more open houses.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
You're always welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate that, because my audience are guys around the world, and we live in the area we live in. We take it for granted, but those guys, they don't
see this every day.
They don't see it every day. So when they see these little goofy pieces I do, they love it. So all right, there you have it.
That's cool.
Thank you, Luc, very much.
You bet.
All right, you're welcome.